Good morning, entrepreneurs at heart. Welcome to your online marketing podcast with Juan Llerena, season 3. And I'm really excited. I want to give you a warm welcome because I'm starting this third podcast season. And I'm going to be I decided I will be doing for this season book reviews. Book reviews related to different topics that I really enjoy, that I'm really interested other than marketing. You know, I'm a marketer. I love advertising and just about anything that is related to figuring out how the consumers are thinking and whatnot. But I'm also very passionate about entrepreneurship, leadership, self-help, different topics that helps you become a better person, helps you become a better professional, and all of those deals. So basically, this season is dedicated to doing a book review. And today I'm gonna be doing a review about Multipliers. Multipliers is a book by Liz Wiseman, and this is a book that is back from 2010. So if you're interested and if you really are looking to improve your skills, your personal skills, your life skills, your professional opportunities, and again, to be a better entrepreneur, a better person, this is the season for you. So stay with me. Let's start. Welcome to your podcast, Online Marketing with Juan Llerena. To succeed in any entrepreneurial project, you need to get prepared and you must learn to learn, unlearn and relearn. In this podcast, we'll help you in 3 ways. First, giving you an opportunity to join a community of entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs just like you, to support you and learn from each other. Second, by bringing you for free tools, tips and tricks to help you advance your projects faster and to teach you how to let the world know about your products and services. Third, by providing you with inspiration, motivation, and ideas to continue your entrepreneurial journey. We cover subjects of marketing, sales, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Join our tribe of entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs and take charge of your destiny. What are we waiting for? Let's get started. All right, so let's get into this book review. Multipliers is a book that I chose because there are good leadership and there's bad leadership. We are always looking for good leaders, but it's not easy to be a good leader, right? Have you ever experienced that a job, a position, anywhere where you volunteer, where you had to deal with someone that he was supposed to be a leader, and I'm kind of quoting leader, that he didn't really have a good leadership skills, that he really, what he was doing, he was just telling people what to do, he was micromanaging, he really didn't trust anybody. Well, this is the kind of leadership that I'm talking about that we want to avoid being. So Multipliers, this book from 2010, where the author was Liz Wiseman, talks about the difference between being a good leader, which she calls as multipliers, and those that are known as, and the bad leaders. Now, a good leader, as she defines, and I totally agree with this, I definitely see where this book fits into our podcast, into my podcast show, is that a good leader is someone that can join any team and make it grow, make it flourish, make it something positive that it can make it grow. Whereas a bad leader, where she calls it she calls them diminishers, those are the ones that drain the energy from any team and take all this drive away, take all this passion away. They suck all the fun, they suck all the energy, the positive energy, the creativity from these teams. In this book, this author explains how to recognize the different types of multipliers, and she runs a comparison of the skills that you should look to develop, and which are the skills that you should avoid at all costs. So that's what we're going to touch in this book. Now, let me clarify right from this very first episode of this season 3 is that I'm not intending to replace the book. It will be unfair for me to cover everything that it will be put into a book, into just a podcast show, right? So I'm trying to get here the pieces, the nuggets, the things, the highlights that I feel they're more important for us to consider being our entrepreneurs. And the goal for this is to accompany you when you're out there traveling, I listen to podcasts that I follow as well when I'm going on a business trip or whatever trip, and I know I'm gonna spend some time sitting on traffic. I'm probably gonna be waiting for my airplane. I'm waiting to catch a different flight, and these are opportunities for you to grow. These are opportunities to take put your time to good use. So with that in mind, I want you to know that if you feel this is a good book, that you're more interested, I definitely recommend everyone to go and buy the book. I'm not selling the book here. I'm not gonna put the link or anything. Or if I share it, it's not gonna be an affiliate link. I'm not looking to make money out of selling these books. I just wanna share good books that I think you should know about them. And if you can apply certain of the things that I'm mentioning in this book that I find interesting, and then that they're serving you for your purpose, then I think I'll be accomplishing my mission. And the one another thing I'm going to ask you to do is also to please share with those you think they can benefit from this podcast. So let's continue. So what can you learn from this Multipliers book? Well, I can bet that most of us, you and I, we can tell when there's a good boss and there's a bad boss, right? Like I said, we all had bad bosses, and we probably had, hopefully, good bosses. And hopefully, if you have a boss, then you can tell. Now, the easiest way to picture someone that it can be a bad boss many times is if you remember this TV show my daughter loves. It's called The Office, and that it really resembles, what are good bosses and bad bosses. Let's take a look at some examples that are being discussed here in this book, and that they teach us about good leadership, and also how we can create a good positive debate to create good positive conversations, and we can do that as leaders too. There are two types of leaders. Like we said, there's the ones that take away from their teams and make them weaker, and they are the ones that take the strengths from their teams and multiply and make them better, make them stronger. Which one do you want to be? Well, evidently, everybody wants to be a good boss. Everybody wants to do well. Okay. The ones that are called diminishers here in this book, the diminishers are the kind of managers, are the kind of bosses that sap both intelligence and energy from their employees or from their teammates. When we see a diminisher, we can usually tell that they're smart people. It's not that they're not smart. In my personal opinion, I mean, they're very bright people, they're very smart people, but they haven't polished their skills. They haven't really figured out a way to get to people, to touch them in the right fibers, to be able to accomplish something good out of them. And not to take advantage of them, but to work with them to make them grow and to see the benefit and the improvement, not only for themselves, but also for their teams and therefore for the company. And when you have more people that are contributing and they're feeling good about what they do and they're growing, they're going to get engaged, and they're going to give 110%, 200%. They will give everything they can possibly give to the benefit of continue growing, but also they will work harder for the company. They will make it grow better, and they will be engaged. So that's not too hard to tell, but it's not as simple to accomplish. So let's look at for an example. So in this book, they talk about somebody in this. It's called Bikram, and this is a worker that at the time he was working for Intel, and he had to deal with a manager who happened to be a bad boss, who was a diminisher. So this manager, according to the book, was an intelligent and very bright, capable scientist, but he would take about a third of each of the meetings talking about his own plans, and pretty much is taking charge of killing every single idea that it wasn't his own idea. So somebody would propose something, then he will be ready to kill those down if they didn't fit exactly what his thoughts were. So eventually, the impression that this employee Bikram and his co-workers got is that the manager didn't want them thinking by themselves. They felt that this manager wanted them to to just be, just wait for him to tell them what to do, and for them to just do whatever they were told to do, so they couldn't contribute. So can we guess that what happened? Well, definitely they were not engaged. They didn't even like him. They didn't want to help him. They wouldn't go the extra mile to get him to get the goals, right? Now what happened is that these diminishers, they get that name because their actions have an effect of subtracting from the capabilities and taking away the productivity from their teams. So when there's an employee, and hopefully that's not your case, that you're working under somebody that falls into this category of a diminisher, then the effort they give is less. They usually are getting, according to the book, is from their capabilities, they only give about 20 to 50% of they're capable of doing. Now, when we're dealing with multipliers, and these are the ones that we want to create, these are the ones that we want to grow, these are the ones that we want to be ourselves, is that we want to have the exactly opposite effect. We want to increase the intelligence and the accomplishments from our team. We want our team members to grow, to shine, and we want to provide the direction and the clear direction. But you will see it too with the generations, and that's one of the books that we'll talk also in the future, is that younger generations now, they're not looking to be told how to do things. They want to be shown what the outcome should look like, and they will figure out how to do it. That's a phenomenon that is different from probably from the Gen Xers or maybe from the baby boomers. Okay, another example of a typical multiplier is this player, famous world-renowned basketball player called Magic Johnson. So Magic Johnson, they tell the story in this book that he was young. He had a high school coach that this high school coach recognized how good of a player and what the potential Magic Johnson had. He makes sure that everybody always on the team will pass the ball to Magic Johnson. He would ask everyone on the team to pass the ball to Magic Johnson so he could score, and that would assure him that they would win the games. So they won the games. They won many games. But Magic Johnson was a smart guy too, and he could realize that at the end of the game, they had won the games, but the teammates weren't really excited. They weren't feeling that were engaged. They weren't enjoying as much as they probably could have if this would have felt as a team effort. Okay, so yes, they won more games, but there was disappointment, there was sadness, there was disengagement on the other players and the other their teammates' parents. So he could tell that. So what he was decided then, the Magic Johnson, he decided he would use his skills to help develop his other teams to get him to shine. So he became the leader of the team and allow and make it easier and better for the teammates to, through work, to become the best they could be, to shine, to get them the spotlight too. So this is how Magic Johnson really got his name. It wasn't because he was just a fantastic player, he could do magic with the ball or anything. No, it was because he had the magic, he had this leadership skill, because he had this ability to raise the game of each one on the team, and that made a difference. Now, this is probably a little bit of it's an example that is not as common, but could you be that one player? This is the challenge question for you. Could you be that one player that can raise the level of the game of your team, whatever it is that you do? If you are a team of designers, if you're a team working at a grocery store, if you are a team on the food shelf working to serve other people, and you're working in a church setting, perhaps, could this be you? If you're working with a team of drivers, let's say you're in a transportation company, could you be the one supervisor or manager that can raise the level of the team and get everyone to be a better member of the team? So I'm gonna let you answer that in your own time, but I have to think that most of us can say that yes, if we're in a position of power to have
supervisorial skills and we are in a management position, yes, we can definitely make a difference and we can definitely raise the bar, but at the same time we can give people the tools to shine, to be better, to do better. And let me guarantee you this, because some people are afraid that people within their own teams, they're going to shine and they're going to get those opportunities and they're going to take those opportunities from the manager, if you happen to be the manager. But let me tell you that it's exactly the opposite that it will happen, because the more tools that you give to people, the more opportunities you create and the more you can put them in the spotlight, they're going to work so much harder that they will earn opportunities for themselves, but also that will reflect on you and your management skills, and that will create new opportunities for you. In fact, that's by developing people, you will get the opportunity to focus on those things that you normally don't have the time to focus because you're taking care of micromanaging people. So if you leave people, you give people room, you give people space, you show a clear intention of how this work ethics should work, and you show by example, you lead by example. But at the same time, if you share a clear vision of where your team should go, well, there's no reason why they shouldn't accomplish. Yes, there could be difficult employees, there always are in every different place. But the difference here is how you approach this. If you are positive, if you allow people to grow, if you trust them, and if you kind of let go a little bit without losing control of the overall projects that you're working with, then there are chances that you are going to be able to develop people to the point where they don't need to be micromanaged as much, and that you will be able to have time to focus on growing yourself and learning new skills and acquiring new knowledge that can be, again, passed down to the team, and where everybody wins and where everybody grows. And believe me that you will get opportunities and you won't miss any of them. Okay, so now what's another subject on the book is talking about how these multipliers are magnets to bring new talent, to either retain or to bring new talent into the teams. So that's something you're looking for, because it's so hard to hire good people nowadays. To begin with, it's hard to hire good people. Okay, now to hire good people or to retain people, that sometimes is even more difficult. This is one of the benefits and one of the beauties of being a multiplier type of leader, right? Because everybody wants to be working around people that helps you develop your skills. Wouldn't you rather be working for someone or with someone that helps you grow, instead of that it tells you what to do every day and doesn't let you input anything into, any ideas into any new projects? Okay, so that's what this book also talks about, and it is important to remember, because multipliers have this talent of bringing talent and retaining talent for the company. This is how you grow teams, and this is how you develop exceptional teams. And in this book, they talk about 4 key practices to be able to bring talent or to retain talent for the company or for the teamwork, for your business, if that's the case. First is to look everywhere for talent. Basically, and as I say, it is kind of flip every stone. You never know what you'll find. Okay, so you have to look everywhere for talent, and this is regardless of traditional methods of finding people, the conventional, looking for hierarchies, or within the same boundaries that everybody else looks. You have to be creative. If someone is skilled, and if someone has the skills to perform in that task that you're looking for the team, then they're valuable. Okay, so first you have to be creative and you have to be willing to look everywhere for talent. Second step is to look for what's that natural skill that person has. What are they good at? What are they the best at? What's their natural skill? What can they do naturally without even thinking about it? Okay, so if you can identify what that is, well, you will recognize that every single person has a different gift, a different talent, and because they have different passions, different values, right? It kind of goes back to the core of themselves. So you can identify that, and then you can tap into that type of resource, into that type of potential. Then you are going to have the ability to unleash potential that otherwise it would never be found. Okay, there are some people that are really good at explaining ideas. Well, maybe that's the case for someone that can be a good presenter about products, can be a good product manager. It can be the one that is giving the sell pitches instead of to someone that is really getting stressed out because they're going to talk in front of people that they're not comfortable doing. They're not naturally comfortable doing it. So you have to have that capability to do that. The third step is to engage that skill that is best suited for them. So you don't build a team of people with the same talent, right? How can you innovate if you get everybody with the same background? And this is what I'm talking about when somebody asks me and they're asking for consulting and mentorship about starting a new business. Well, a lot of the times it's people that are coming from the same university or from the same school, or their friends that they have worked on the same type of business. They both have the same skills, but they're lacking the same skills that they both lack. So you need to have a team that has a variety of skills, that has a variety of backgrounds, that has a variety of life experiences. That's how you innovate. That's how you make teams stronger. So if you can have that vision, then you are in your path to create teams that are that you can retain talent and you can bring good positive talent to your teams. Okay, so don't build a team of people who all have the same talent. Okay, instead try to figure out what are those talents that your team needs, and then you work on bringing those talents to the table. And the fourth practice to be able to do this is to remove anything that is in the way of getting your team to do their best, to reach their maximum effectiveness. You have to remove those obstacles, anything that blocks those possibilities, and sometimes that can be you. Yes, that can be you, and that sometimes could be me, because if I'm standing in the way and I'm not letting everyone try ideas, I don't give them space to fail. I make them feel like if they make a mistake, they're failing and they're a failure. Then I'm not really seeing the positive side of failure and turning that into success. So you have to remove anything that is blocking or not allowing your team to reach their full potential. Sometimes it can be a person, sometimes it can be the equipment that they're working with, the type of training they're getting. So you're asking people to do something they haven't been trained for, that they don't find a way to get the training that they need, and you don't facilitate that process, or you don't give them the exact equipment that they need. So if they're working for a kitchen, let's say they're working in a restaurant, and they have to cut, they have to handle food, and they're struggling finding gloves, they're struggling, with a knife, they're not sharp enough. You're making their life easier, you're making their life harder. If the floor is slippery, and they can fall because it's greasy, and you don't have special mats, or they're not, there's no way to help them get some kind of working shoes with working soles that are like non-slippery, then you're keeping those obstacles in there, and then you're making it worse for them to give their very, very best. That makes sense. I mean, this is all common sense, and that's why I love this book so much, because it really teaches a lot of things, and it makes you think a lot of things that you probably already knew, but maybe you have forgotten, or maybe you don't have the time to think about because you're too busy doing what you do every day. And I know you're a busy person. That's why podcasting is awesome, because this is a way to learn, to remember, and if you can practice one thing for a week, for a month, and you see positive results, why not stick to it and learn more? So if you have a good team, you can still be a good talent magnet using the same steps that we have mentioned in the very, just a moment ago. Because when you identify people that are going to be part of the team, who are people that are smart, who are committed, that are good people, that want to give the very best, then you're setting up your team for success. You're going to make it easier for everybody. And again, that's kind of removing the obstacles from keeping your team down, and from, not allowing your team to flourish and to do the best. Now, there's another chapter also in the book where they talk about this kind of leadership, what they call multipliers, but they call these multipliers liberators. And liberators creates a sense of inspiring people in the workplace. Okay, so it's like people that unleash potential in people just by inspiring them to find their passion, to work with their passion, to align their passion to their work and find a good meaning to their work. So the liberator is someone who can get the very best out of people. And this is because, according to this book, they create a high pressure atmosphere, which is not the same as stress, but they create a high pressure atmosphere at work because they want people to raise up to a certain level, right? To the best, to the very, very best. Maybe to certain levels that they haven't discovered they can do. And but they're also following the practices that we talked about, being a good leader, being as a multiplier. So first, they give people that they're working with to work. They give them room to work. They give them space. They give them the tools that they need. And then they leave them alone to allow the team to do their job. And when they do this job, they find that they can create things that they wouldn't otherwise. So it's not just letting them do whatever they want, but it's providing a clear sense of leadership and direction and being there to correct things when you see that something is going off path. So you need to set up parameters and checkpoints where you can see either via meetings, conference meetings, maybe a follow-up, ways of communicating. There are many ways that you can use apps and conference calls and video conferencing, whatever you need that it works for you. If you're working with remote teams or local teams, it doesn't really make a difference. But the difference here is that these multipliers called liberators, they do see that by giving people an opportunity to think and to contribute, and by setting up a challenge like raising the bar as a challenge for them to achieve, then they become something they would never imagine. And this raises the overall expertise, performance, experience of the overall team, because everybody helps each other to try to get there because they're working toward a common goal. And that's what it makes a difference with this type of liberator, right, that we're talking about. Because the liberators, again, they give space by not giving so much their own opinions, by focusing what people bring to the table and trying to develop that and trying to not be the center of the conversation, trying not to make a monologue out of the meetings, right? And how many of you have been at meetings where only one person talks or one person does the talking and they have the final saying all the time? And sometimes that's how it's going to have to be, but in many cases, I can guarantee you that at least half the time, maybe 60% of the time, these people that are usually the ones that are trying to control everything, they're just shutting people down. They're just intruding and giving so much of their own ideas that they don't listen. They probably hear, but they don't listen to what people are saying. So they miss a lot of opportunities because they go down that path. Okay, now again, the challenger, which is another kind of multiplier, they push their team to their limits or new limits, but without being rude, while still being respectful, while still looking to get people the feeling and the real feeling that they are important to the team. Okay, so it's about how you challenge people, again, to raise to the next level. Okay, so the challenger, first, it doesn't tell people where to go, what to do. Instead of this, the challenger points people in a specific direction. Again, the good leaders, they share a clear, positive vision where the people that are being challenged, they can develop their own ideas. So just look at the difference, right? They're not being just told what to do or how to do it. Instead, they are given the opportunity, once they're being shown clear ideas and clarity as far as where they want to go, they are those that will be able to come up with their own ideas to raise to the challenge that has been put out there. So in turn, that makes these teams better. They're making people that feel more capable, people that are growing, they're constantly challenged, so they don't sit around and get too comfortable, or that they don't get bored, especially people that are looking always for a challenge. Okay, so for example, instead of explaining where something was needed or how something should be shown, the good idea here is to let people to come up with the solutions on their own. So let's just kind of talk about example that comes to mind. So let's say you're trying to solve a problem about, say, pollution in your community, okay? Waste or pollution in your community, or maybe people aren't taking, good care of the ocean or the water, and you can see that there could be a potential for good change in your community. Well, you can just gather a group of people and you can tell people, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is the problem and this is how we're gonna solve it. Okay, now the approach for this type of leadership for the challenger is the challenger presents the challenge and presents the problem, and he challenges people to solve it, but he doesn't tell them how. So the challenger lets people basically come into the city, tour, let's say, the lake or the ocean, see the problem by themselves, kind of get a good feeling on what's really going on, and then they will probably make their own research. They will brainstorm on their own. They could probably brainstorm together, and finally they will come up with the best solution they believe it is for this problem. So let's say the solution is the same as the challenger already knew. Well, believe me that these people are going to be more engaged, and besides the concept and the solution is a better solution because it's already proven that more people have come up with the same idea. Let's say the solution is different than what the challenger thought in the first place. Well, and this is a better solution, in fact, and there's a solution that more people agree. So which one is going to have better traction to get to be done? Which one is going to be closer to being the better solution? Well, evidently the one that is being figured out by a group of people with different backgrounds, with different ideas of how to solve it, that they have a different approach to the same problem. But this is going to be more of a proven concept than the first idea. So wouldn't you rather have a solution on the, a good solution in the first place, or have something that you think is a good solution that it turns out to be that it wasn't? Okay, so you see where I'm coming from, and I hope I was able to explain this well. But basically, again, the solution, the challenger doesn't tell the solution. He presents the problem or the challenge, and then lets the team, and then he kind of steps back and lets the team figure that out, and then they're more engaged. Okay, so as a leader, you want to be inclusive. You don't want to micromanage people. You want to empower people to be their very best, to own the projects that they're running, and to own their own time as much as they can to produce the work that needs to be done. Evidently, if you have deadlines, well, you have to stick to the deadlines. If you have particular requirements from a client that it needs to be complied, or city regulations, state regulations, whatever it is, insurance regulations, well, you gotta follow all those steps, but they need to be laid out so people are well aware of those, and then they know what parameters they can use. Remember, a good leader also provides the tools and eliminates any barriers that are present so this team can produce their very, very best results and can be a really good, effective team. Okay? So it is important that we consider all of these different variables to be able to be good leaders. Okay, now what happens if you're on the other side of the equation? Let's say you are being the one that is being micromanaged for a leader, for your boss. Okay, and so one of the advices from this book, and it makes a lot of sense, is to try to find a friendly way, a friendly conversation to remind your boss that you're qualified to work without so much micromanaging or so much oversight. Okay, so in the experience of the author of this book, they talk about the scenario of making a joke about kind of losing the choke chain. Okay, you can kind of see the figure here, and this is a clear message that no one have the authority to be challenged. Okay, another method is to be your own multiplier, so you can find your own ways to be your own good boss and a good leader, even for yourself or in your lifestyle, to rule your own life. You'll feel that you are less stressed and that you're more creative, and that's going to create opportunities for you of growth that you probably did not think were possible, and even using your own skills for your own advantage. Okay, so it is important that we are also, as is mentioned in this book, that there are different quick practices to transform the places where we work and to transform ourselves by being multipliers. So multiplier has a great abundance of benefits, not only to be a good leader, but also to change how how we transform our own place of work and even ourselves. Okay, how can we prove this? Well, first you need to start by realizing that if you are acting as a diminisher in your own team or with yourself, then you need to change. Okay, so if you don't recognize that there's a problem with your leadership style for yourself, because your mind is telling you how to do things and what to do and what not to do, or stopping you from doing good, positive things, then first you need to realize that you are the problem, okay, or that there is in fact a problem. So by realizing that there is a problem that you need to change, then you're accomplishing the first step. The second step, as is suggested in this book, is that you have to resolve what you have identified as a problem, to having followed through on that challenge. So you realize that there is a problem and that problem turns to be a challenge. So the second step is to resolve that problem, right? It's very basic logic, but typically people don't do this. Okay, so the important part is to understand that multipliers, and that's the difference with multipliers, that multipliers aren't perfect always. Okay, so we're, at the end of the day, we're humans, we are people, we have feelings, we have emotions, and sometimes we're not gonna be making every call the best that we can, but the challenge is to do it as much as we can. Okay, so we need to focus, instead of just into one skill that we can maximize, we can probably focus into that one weakness that we can neutralize. Okay, so look at that approach. Yes, you want to maximize your good traits, your good skills, but instead of focusing so much into that one skill that you can improve, maybe you can focus on neutralizing that one negative skill that you have, or that negative trait, which we can call a weakness. And if you neutralize it, everything else is going to be much more better. Okay, so if you can do this, then you're on the way of being a good leader, a good multiplier. Okay, so as a final recap and as a final summary for this book, we could probably say that a multiplier multipliers are people that are harvesting, they're growing, and they're helping other people with their talents, and they're good motivators of those that are around them. Okay, so multipliers are good for everyone. They're good for the teams, they're good for the employees, they're good for themselves, they're good for the companies, because productivity is going to be improved for sure, and also because it makes workers that are more appreciated and more fulfilled with what they do. Okay, multipliers also look to remove all those barriers, like we said before, that are stopping the team from achieving their full potential. Okay, and they're also being willing enough and smart enough to provide clear direction and sometimes step back so they can let people do their best and come up with their own ideas. And they're proactive at listening, not only hearing but also listening, and being able and willing to share the spotlight with others. Okay, what can you do about this? Well, just start an experiment. Okay, that will be the suggestion for this podcast. The actionable suggestion is run an experiment. Find what a challenge is, identify the problem, recognize it is a problem in your team or in yourself, and then focus on getting the tools to improve, but don't focus so much into that one skill you need to develop. Continue working on those, but focus more into neutralizing those negative traits or negative skills you're applying right now, and you will see changes. And from there, you can see how you can get to know your team better and how everybody is reacting to that new style of positive leadership, in this case being a multiplier. Okay, so I hope this was a good book review for you that inspires you to take an actionable step, an actionable advice to start improving already, not tomorrow but today, your leadership skills. That's going to help you with your own personal development, with your professional development, with your entrepreneurship development, being a better professional, being a good motivator, being a good leader, with everybody else. And that will make your job not only better for you and for your company, but also easier for you, believe me. And that's only a win-win situation, and that's what we're looking to do. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this first episode of our third season for these book reviews from the Online Marketing Podcast with Juan Llerena. I'm going to be touching on different subjects, so please stay with me, and then don't forget to check us back next week, next Friday, with a new podcast episode about something else that is also very interesting and is all connected. My call to action is to please visit my website at jlbmedia.com. Check it out. Check our past podcasts. There's a lot of information put out there. I do this because I love to share what I learn. It helps me also stay on top of my game by having to continuously research and stay up to date with trends and new information that is helpful and instrumental to my development. So I do it for me, but I also know that this has a lot of value for other people too, and I hope that you see it and I hope that you appreciate it. So please subscribe to our newsletter, become a member of our entrepreneur tribe, and we are a multicultural group. So if you are looking to reach out to a multicultural group, multicultural professionals with different backgrounds, with different approaches to the same problem, with different solutions to the same problem, then this is the group for you. If you're looking to improve your self-help skills, your motivation skills, your leadership skills, if you want to find ways to be a better minimalist, if you're looking to, in other words, be happy or be happier, then this podcast, I hope you find it that is good for you. So, okay, the invitation is done, and please visit me at jlbmedia.com. Subscribe to the VIP newsletter. I respect your time, and I'm not gonna sell your information. It's only so we can stay in touch and that you never miss a podcast episode. So that's it. Have a great week. Stay positive, work hard, learn a lot, enjoy life, be happier. Goodbye.